good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to the show. First Contact Radio is the show. I am Josh Poet, and I am here with you next hour. Hope your day went well yesterday, and hope you have a good day in your mind, and we'll make it happen today. Maybe some of you it's already happened, obviously, since there are different time zones in the world. All right, jumping ahead to the moon for today, the 13 moon. We have the yellow, it's a warrior day. Yellow crystal warrior, guided by the star. Phrase for today is, well, let's backtrack. Yellow is the color of ripening. Crystal tone, tone number 12, is the crystal tone of cooperation. The warrior is the 16th symbol. The warrior is all about asking questions, using your intelligence. And the guide for today is the star. The phrase, I dedicate in order to question, universalizing fearlessness. I seal the output of intelligence with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of elegance. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Tuesday, April 19th, 2011. Now, for some of you who are new to the calendar that I read every morning, you can see it here behind me. Well, those of you who've seen it just saw it. The calendar is the 13 moon calendar, and the purpose and the reason that I do read it is be able to connect you in with the energy of the day, and the calendar is based on the Mayan calendar. It is the dream spell. Jose Argelis was the gentleman who was very instrumental in bringing it forward, all based on a prophecy of the Mayan elders and the elders that someone was going to come as the closer of the circle. He called himself the closer of the circle, and he took this new wisdom, the old wisdom, and he added to it the cosmic wisdom to bring it forward to what this is. That's the long and short story. What I do is I read every day, because every day on the calendar is a different day and has a different meaning. What I'm going to do, let's see, maybe tomorrow, or actually next week, I'll make all next week about the dream spell calendar. So we're going to take some time every day, and I'm going to explain how it works. It's a very simple process, and once you learn it, you'll understand more and more. But for right now, if you don't understand anything more than just what I'm saying when I read it and understand the phrase, that's enough. Just think about those ideas, and that will help get you through what you need to get through. All right? There you go. That's it. I'm done rambling. Now I'm going to turn things over to Dirk, who has the cosmic news for today. So Dirk, over to... I don't see him over here. What happened to Dirk? There he is. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
On a distant island, these two clans split into the Reds and the Whites, wage war. Their story goes a little something like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for what might possibly be the greatest show on Earth. That's right. It is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw. And tonight we are going to take another look at alien abductions. Well, most alien abductions are pretty much BS. It's just a bunch of people who don't have much in life and have decided that their Walmart jobs just aren't gratifying enough and that they need a lot more attention. So they go off and make some sort of crazy claim to have been abducted by aliens. Now, other than the fact that I am an alien, you might be asking yourself, how do I know this? Well, I've got to tell you, as an alien, I know plenty of other aliens, and abducting people hasn't been hip or trendy in probably the last 200 or 300 years. And even then, it wasn't that much fun. So, we investigate alien abductions, but I just wanted to give you my 2 cents before we got started. And, of course, you go ahead and watch this, and you decide. It could have been someone I don't know. I don't know every alien out there. Even though most people, when they see me, they said, hey, do you know so-and-so? He's an alien, too. How I don't know every alien, but the ones I do know don't abduct. Alien abductions! That's tonight on the Cosmic News. Stay tuned. You might be next.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
It's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, oh I'm a rocket man.
While researching my books, I've personally investigated hundreds of abduction cases, but one man's story truly haunts me. His name is Jesse Long. He claims to have been abducted many times since he was a boy, and the abductions he describes are terrifying. If what Jesse tells me is true, then there is a very surprising future in store for all of us. Jesse, when do you first recall being abducted?
My first abduction occurred in 1957 when I was 5 years old in Rogersville, Tennessee, a very small town in Upper East Tennessee. My brother John was with me at the time. Above the hill behind our house, we came upon what appeared to be a round house under construction. And one man, a taller looking figure, he had a rod, long rod in his hand. A light was emitted from it and we were paralyzed.
It is at this point that Jesse Long's conscious memory of what happened ends. He says it's only through hypnosis that he's been able to remember the rest of this first abduction. What you are seeing is actual footage of Jesse undergoing hypnotic regression.
You will not be
I remember being taken into the craft, taken into one room. I was placed on a very cold, flat table. My brother was separated and he was taken into another room. They were doing something down to my legs. I could feel them poking and prodding around my legs.
According to Jesse, his abductors inserted a small item, an alien implant, into his left shin.
And it was in my body for 34 years.
Could you feel it inside you? What did it feel like?
It was always painful. I always had to wear my socks below the incision point because it was painful.
In 1991, Jesse had the foreign object removed from his leg.
There it is.
This is actual footage of that procedure.
That's a good half-inch long, isn't it?
This is the object that was in my leg. And unfortunately, during the initial test that was done on it, it was broken into 2 pieces. But that allowed us to look at the inside.
Some have dismissed the object as simply a shard of glass. But when it was analyzed at Southwest Research Institute, a materials analysis facility in Texas, the conclusions suggested a greater mystery. According to the lab's report, the object revealed a very remarkable composition and exhibited unique surface characteristics that cannot be explained, and that the questions outnumber the answers.
When the object was removed, I was convinced that whatever this object was had something to do with all of my abductions.
Jesse Long believes he has experienced a number of abductions since that first incident in 1957. And they became more and more horrific as he grew into an adult.
Most of my abductions occurred very similarly. When they brought me into the craft, they would take me down a long hallway. They would place me on a flat table. Of course, I was paralyzed and had to be because I was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to be there. The experiments on the table included a sperm extraction. The sperm extraction procedure is the most traumatic and has caused me the most problems in that they actually force me to crossbreed with what seems to be a female being.
Okay, you're gonna wake up. 1, 2.
And those people tend to be the people who are boundary deficit disordered. They have problems with relationships. They always say, I've always felt like an outsider. I don't feel like I belong. They can't hold jobs. They just have a tough time in life. And telling this person who's been lost and outside and alone that they do belong, that they're an abductee, that they have an identity, and that there are other people just like them, answers all of those questions for them.
Jesse, when you tell people about your experiences, do they believe you?
You know, it's not my job to convince anybody. It's my job just to tell you what I've experienced. If you believe it, fine. If you don't believe it, I don't care.
This is evidence that can't be ignored. And the story just gets more and more disturbing. What Jesse says happened to him in 1990 may answer the question that hangs over every abduction account. Why is this being done?
I was driving from California to New Orleans, and right outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, on I-40, my car was lifted off the interstate up into a craft with me in the car. I was taken aboard the craft, placed on a table. I was presented with a baby. I was told, this is your child.
What happened then?
And there were 9 other children standing along the wall. They all looked at me, and I could see, yes, they were mine. Each of the children who were standing along the wall walked up to me lying on the table, and they each touched my hand as they walked by and looked me straight in the eyes. And they walked on out of the room. And the message I was getting from them was, we're okay. Thank you.
If you could confront your abductors, what would you say to them?
If I could sit down with one of them right now, I'd ask them one question. I would want to know why me and for what reason.
We have thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming forward with these cases, not only around the United States, but around the world as well.
David Jacobs based his book The Threat on the explosive issue of hybrids, the crossbreeding of aliens with humans. For Jacobs, stories like Jesse Long's are only the beginning.
I think we are looking at a catastrophic situation. I think we are looking at a disaster. We are seeing a unified program here with these beings, a program of physiological exploitation by one species of another. And I know this sounds absolutely insane. We're looking at a colonization program in some way.
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, Big Brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth. What if our government was responsible for some of the great... All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO News. I am Joshua Poet. Starting off, JFK sought documents on UFOs 10 days before his assassination. This is from thedigitaljournal.com. Says, adding new speculation to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, two documents revealed by an author researching the JFK presidency show Kennedy's interest in gaining access to UFO information. In letters sent by President John F. Kennedy to the CIA and revealed by author William Lester to AOL News, as reported by the Daily Mail, Kennedy requests access to top-secret information on UFO sightings with particular interest in sightings reported over the former Soviet Union. It is important that we make a clear distinction between the knowns and the unknowns in the event of the Soviets try to mistake our extended cooperation as a cover for intelligence gathering of the defense and space program, Kennedy wrote in a memo to the director of the CIA, the subject of which all was labeled Classification Review of all UFO intelligence files affecting national security. Top secret document was dated November 12, 1963. President Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963. Researching his new book, A Celebration of Freedom, JFK and the New Frontier, Mr. Lester received the documents from the CIA under the Freedom of Information Act. Mr. Lester believes Kennedy's interest in the files were fueled by his desire to keep relations with the former Soviet Union on good footing. One of his concerns was that a lot of these UFOs were being seen all over the Soviet Union, and he was very concerned that the Soviet might misinterpret these UFOs as U.S. aggression, believing that it's some sort of our technology. Lester told AOL News, according to the Daily Mail report, I think that this is one of the reasons why he wanted to get his hands on this information and get it away from the jurisdiction of NASA, so he could say to the Soviets, look, that's not us. We're not doing it. We're not being provocative. Of interest to JFK assassination and UFO conspiracy theorists alike, in a burned memo, an undated document with scorch marks edging it, the CIA director references Lancer, their code name for President Kennedy. As you must know, Lancer has made some inquiries regarding our activities which we cannot allow, the memo begins. UFO investigators contend that this memo may point to another motivation for the JFK assassination, and they are employing modern dating technology to determine when this particular memo was authored. Alright. Dead alien footage caught on video in Siberia. The body of what appears to be a dead alien has been caught on a video by two walkers in Siberia. Let's see what this looks like. The footage was taken in Irkutsk, which is located in the South Siberia. Features the 2-foot-high decomposed corpse of an alien-looking creature with a missing limb. Has taken YouTube by storm, with over 1 million views. Let's see here. Alright, there it is. Yeah, there is some sort of little... Yeah, okay, what is that? It says go to All News Web for more information on this. Very interesting. Oh yeah, look at that. Well, if indeed that is real, then that is quite amazing. Said the validity of the footage remains uncertain. However, most YouTube viewers have expressed their concern over whether the creature is of biological or rubber origin. The footage follows last month's mass sightings of a UFO in a location where there are usually high numbers of UFO sightings flying towards the area where the body was found. Staff from the emergencies ministries did not take the matter with a pinch of salt and launched an investigative into the reported crash, and surprisingly, the plot thickens because there were no reported aircraft in the area at the time. The alien body, which looks remarkably convincing, could be the product of a very talented special effects, not CG wizard, who was able to craft a very convincing model and stick it in the ground as a hoax. But then again, it could be the genuine article. Have we become cynical to the point where we dismiss everything that does not conform to the rational view of the universe? Or are there still some people out there with an open mind? One thing is for sure, and that is news about aliens is becoming more and more frequent. I wonder why. Very good, very good. And here, UFO over Archer, Florida, was large as an acre by Roger Marsh at the UFO Examiner, examiner.com. An Archer, Florida witness estimates one of two anomalous lights have been as large as an acre of land after watching two lights appear and then shoot up into the atmosphere at 9:39 or 9:30 p.m. on April 18, 2011, according to testimony from the Mutual UFO Network Witness Reporting Database. The witness was outside smoking when the first light appeared, while looking southwest about 40 to 45 degrees up. I noticed a bright neon blue light appear in the night sky, the witness stated. The moment later, it traveled at a high rate of speed straight up until it faded out within 5 seconds. Then 5 seconds later, a second light appeared in the same location, but smaller in size. It followed the same direction as the previous blue light at the same speed and faded out after about 5 to 7 seconds, just as the blue light did. The witness speculated on the size of the object. There was not a single cloud in the sky for a light to disappear into, so they must have left visible range of the Earth's atmosphere or simply turned off whatever was illuminating them. As they were, in fact, leaving Earth's atmosphere at that speed, the blue light must have been as large as an acre, and the smaller one half an acre. Archer is a city in Ochalua County, north central Florida, population 1,302. And Florida is currently a UFO Alert 3 rating with the high number of UFO sightings nationally. Florida had 23 UFO reports in March 2011. California had 45, the highest in the nation. Speaking of California, this here is an article from ContraCoastTimes.com. Says UFOs reported in Inland Valley the day before Roswell. Think that the Inland Valley is the last place a flying saucer would visit? Then consider that July 6, 1947, experience of the R.V. Allen family on Riverside Drive in Ontario. The rancher said that while he and Mrs. Allen and their daughter Dolores were seated in their motor car about 9:30 p.m., they saw a whole school of strange discs overhead from south to north and insisted that they played about in the air just as perch do in the water, wrote the Ontario Daily Report the next day. Not convinced? How about B.A. Runner, who saw and heard some strange things that same night in his West California street? Runner reported that several of the discs sailed over his house about 8 p.m., circled about and returned, one of them flying so low that the sound of an attracted motor could be distinctly heard, wrote the newspapers. And this is the day before the startling incident in Roswell, New Mexico, the recovery of a flying disc by the Army. The disclosure, which is quickly refuted by military officials, has helped spawn decades of UFO sightings, invaders from Mars, movies, and conspiracy theorists. Whether you believe in UFOs or not, it was obvious people locally, fueled by fear or wonder, or maybe too many stimulants, saw something up there. On July 8th, a spinning platter was said to have crashed into an almond grove near Lancaster, Redlands. Truck driver H.J. Stell reported silver eggs in a straight line flew over March Field near Riverside as it disappeared. Jerry McAdams saw a disc as big as a house in Beverly Hills that seemed to give off a low whistle as it disappeared. On the morning of July 10th, Pomona residents in West 110th Street told Pomona Progress Bulletin there were 3 tumbling objects in the air, each sparkling as the sun reflected off them. Now, not everyone was impressed by all this UFO saucer talk. The Progress Bulletin reported on July 8th that an irreverent skywriter drew 2 giant circles in the sky and spelled out the word saucers to mock the frenzy. All this uproar wasn't easy for the newspapers to keep straight. According to a front-page wire service story in the July 7 Daily Report, a plane shot down a flying saucer over Montana, and the story quoted both the pilot and his cameraman. But on the next page of the same edition was the last-minute bulletin saying it was a hoax. The story grew from the pilot and his friends sitting around telling tales. On July 8th, a reward of $1,000 was offered to anyone who could capture one of these flying things, an offer that only made things more crazy. San Francisco designer Frank Burrell produced new women hat drawn, he said, from flying saucer he claimed he saw in a nightmare. Newspapers of the radio stations were swarmed by cameras, though Kansas officials bragged that none of its residents saw UFOs because, as the Dry state, it barred alcohol consumption. A North Hollywood man planned to ask for the $1,000 prize after a 30-inch disc conveniently landed in his garden. It contained a radio tube and 2 exhaust pipes that spewed out a lot of smoke. In the interest of serious science, though, I must report that a flying saucer was indeed captured in the Inland Valley that week. Pomona police, about 10 p.m. on July 8th caught two men atop a building under construction at 2nd Avenue and Gibb Street. Two others were nabbed in the street below. They had about 20-pound flying saucer fabricated from two plow blades, of which had attracted some batteries and wires to its look. They had planned to set the saucer afire, hurl it at the intersection below, hoping to panic the good folks of Pomona. The four, in their early 20s from Pomona, San Dimas, and Covina, even stenciled SBAAB and XP85 on the saucer to imply that some kind of strange experimental craft gotten loose from the San Bernardino Army Air Base, Nevada's Area 51, was still something far in the future for that sort of thing. Their questions later released, perhaps that's because the kind of out-of-the-world crime was something which the law had not yet created. So, very interesting indeed. At least the ones at the beginning were a little bit more on. The rest were kind of funny. And that, my friends, that is our UFO news for today. I'm going to jump to a song. I will be right back with something else. Here we go.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Underground is where they live, in the bases that our secrets live. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention, read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Underground is where they live, in the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? I can neither confirm or deny. They can neither confirm or deny. It's time for them, confirm or deny. No more secret lies.
Alright, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back indeed. So, First Contact Radio is the name of the show. I'm here Monday through Friday, so if you want to come check out the show, you can catch us live 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Otherwise, just show up First Contact Radio or blogtalkradio.com/First Contact, and you can catch the show right there. We are also up at Ustream, so you can, If you're a First Contact Radio, just click the link that says watch the video stream and you'll be able to check it out. Now, some of the news here I thought you'd find quite interesting is we have Arizona Governor vetoes birther and campus gun bills. Arizona's Republican Governor Jan Brewer on Monday vetoed two controversial bills, one mandating proof of U.S. citizenship to run for president, the other allowing guns on college campuses, in a clear setback for conservatives who control the state legislature. Brewer, who grabbed headlines a year ago when she signed a get-tough state law cracking down on illegal immigrants, vetoed the bills in an announcement late on Monday. The so-called birther bill would have made Arizona the first state in the nation to require a presidential candidate to prove U.S. citizenship by providing a long-form birth certificate and other forms of proof, including baptismal of or circumcision certificates, to be placed on the state ballot. Now, she said, I never imagined being presented with a bill that could require candidates for president of the greatest and most powerful nation on earth to submit their early baptism or circumcision certificates. This is a bridge too far, she said. You know, is it really? Seeing that we're in a situation now with a president who has not shown the proper papers and has gone to so much trouble to keep others from seeing those papers, isn't it a legitimate question? And if it is, then why would someone like this vote no and veto an opportunity to this, to ask that very basic question? You know, Donald Trump is out there and he's getting a lot of flack because he is doing this, asking that very question. He's being called the birther. They've given him a name now, like everything else, the birthers. And he's trying to figure something out, and they're painting it as a ridiculous battle that he's trying to fight, but he makes a very good point. He says when somebody asked him for his birth certificate, it took him all of 1 hour to get that and show it to him. Why cannot the same thing be done for the President of the United States? Why can't he get his birth certificate and just show it? A legitimate copy and show it. He hasn't done that. He has something to hide, and that's what this is all about. The President shouldn't have something to hide. He should be able to be honest with the folks. Now, speaking of the president, you may have noticed the other day, because the news is playing it all over, there's a controversial picture out there of Obama. Apparently someone put him in the form of a monkey, and everybody is outraged. Well, not everybody. A lot of people are outraged. They seem to think that this is disrespectful, and there are those who are calling racism. You know, I don't know the whole story. Maybe the person was or wasn't being racist when they made the picture. All I know is this. Everybody on the planet, no exceptions, looks like some sort of an animal. Okay? Look in the mirror, look at yourself. You look like some sort of an animal. I don't know what kind of animal. Everyone's different. Maybe that's how someone perceived him. Meant nothing more than that. We have to learn to laugh at ourselves down here and stop taking everything so serious that every time someone makes a comment about someone that it's bordering on racism. And you know what? Let's get over it. We're all living down here. We're all different colors down here. We're all different ideas and beliefs. But you know what? We're all here together. And that's the only thing that matters. So whatever this other nonsense is going on, we just got to let it go. It seems that the media, the mainstream media, is wanting to pick a fight, because at the same time that they were talking about this picture and how people were outraged, the only commercials I kept seeing with the news was this commercial. So they were doing exactly the same thing. They were the ones who were showing it over and over and over. So we just need to pay attention to the way that they're pushing the buttons out there, especially around the issues of race, and just not get caught up in it. You know better. You know, let's laugh at ourselves. Let's move on from all the issues. This isn't about black and white and red and yellow. This is about people of the earth and working together, and that's all that matters. Okay? Now, moving on. Yesterday, the S&P, Standards and Poor's, well, they issued a stark warning to Washington, cutting its outlook on U.S. sovereign debt for the first time and throwing more fuel at the raging debate over America's swollen deficits. The agency kept America's credit rating at AAA, but for the first time since it started rating the U.S. debt 70 years ago, cut its outlook from stable to negative. A negative outlook means there is 1/3 chance of a downgrade in the next 2 years. Let's listen to this right here. This is something that does affect people here in the States and will affect people around the world as well.
With Washington wrangling over the debt ceiling in the near term and massive budget deficits longer term, S&P has downgraded its outlook on U.S. government debt. The fear that the White House and Congress will face gridlock before the fall 2012 elections. There's also the question about Washington's ability to get a plan in place before 2014.
We think the debt ceiling debate highlights the big divide between the parties about how to get the deficit down. But we actually think that the debt ceiling is going to get raised this year. So this is really about the medium-term fiscal story in the United States and how and whether and when the administration and the Congress are going to get on top of that.
While the question how to substantially reduce the deficit remains unanswered, the White House agrees that a bipartisan agreement to attack the red ink is needed.
We cannot play chicken with our economy. We cannot play chicken with the full faith and credit of the United States government.
Even with this warning shot from Wall Street, on a positive note, S&P says the U.S. does have a fundamentally strong and diverse economy. But it notes the nation's deficit surged to 11% of total economic output in 2009. That's a substantially greater burden than had been seen in recent years. Mark Hamrick, Associated Press, Washington.
All right, there we go. So, very important that things need to get on track, don't you think? That's not really something we need to really, well, it's part of what's going on. We have to deal with it. Now, Obama has been losing popularity, and as such, he's getting grilled a little bit more. This is a video I want you to see. It says Obama was miffed. Somebody made the mistake of allowing a reporter to ask tough questions. Brad Watson of WFAA-TV in Houston asked Obama why he's so unpopular in Texas. See the video below. Let's check it out right now rather than reading anymore because, well...
7 minutes to talk with the president today about his deficit reduction plan and some pointed questions about Texas. We met the president in the map room of the ground level of the White House, where he said his deficit reduction plan is better with its higher taxes on the rich and cuts.
We can take a more balanced approach, consistent with what my fiscal commission put forward, which says $2 trillion worth of cuts.
But in Texas, his plan is a tough sell. Why do you think you're so unpopular in Texas?
Well, look, Texas has always been a pretty Republican state for historic reasons.
However, he inferred his election meant Texas politics were changing.
We lost by a few percentage points in Texas.
You lost by about 10.
Well, 55-44. I understand. If what you're telling me is Texas is a conservative state, you're absolutely right.
Republican Governor Rick Perry frequently criticizes the president over the health care law, EP regulations on Texas oil and gas industries, and the budget. But Mr. Obama hinted at hypocrisy by Perry.
Governor Perry helped balance his budget with about $6 billion worth of federal help, which he happily took, and then started blaming the members of Congress who had offered that help.
Houston Republicans and Democrats suspect the Obama administration skipped Houston to award shuttle orbiters to states that would help in the president's reelection.
That's wrong.
Entered into this. So was the shuttle not awarded to Houston because of politics?
I just said that was wrong. We had nothing to do with it. The White House had nothing to do with it. There was a whole commission, a whole process. That's how the decision was made.
And you weren't personally involved in the decision?
I just said that wasn't true.
He claimed an immigration reform bill still isn't dead.
So the question is going to be, are we going to be able to find some Republicans who can partner with me and others to get this done once and for all instead of using it as a political football?
And the president says he's not giving up on Texas. Are you going to campaign in Texas for re-election, or is the state written off?
I never write off any states.
You're not going to write off?
I never write off states, and I love Texas.
After the interview, Mr. Obama pointed out that he doesn't like an interviewer challenging his comments.
Let me finish my answers next time we do an interview. All right. Thank you.
Of course, there's never enough time to ask all the questions, but on one that Texas Republicans keep bringing up, that the president is somehow targeting Texas, he said clearly he is not. Live in Washington tonight, Brad Watson, Channel 8 News.
Okay, very good, very good. Obama wants to finish his answers. Um, there's a question I saw here. I'm not going to play this video today, but question about the radiation, and I've been thinking this myself, that there's radiation levels showing up around the United States, and they're showing up in all kind of different places, sometimes in the middle of the country, sometimes the East Coast, and I'm wondering how that's happening. Is this coming from Japan? Because when you go to the different sites online to look at the radiation network, and a few other places where there's Geiger counters, there aren't big readings coming out of Japan, which kind of contradicts some of the reports that are coming out of there. So with that uncertainty, when I'm seeing some of these radiation levels go up here and people talk about them in the news, I'm wondering where they're coming from. And I just saw somebody else pose the question. It was on the Truther Girls. Where is this radiation really coming from Fukushima? And it just thought came to mind yesterday. I had a movie on. I think it was The Sum of All Fears. And I just remember the one part where it was discovered that the radiation wasn't from another country. The radiation was actually coming from within the United States. And the whole story then seemed to unfold around that point. Not that that has anything to do with anything, other than movies do have a way of putting information out there to acclimate you to what is going to go on or what may be going on. So, just a thought, something to think about, and that's about it. Now, here is something quite interesting. Oftentimes, the United States will do drills. FEMA will run drills, and they'll want to, they're called exercises. And when they run these exercises, it's usually because there's some big national disaster that they're preparing for. And strangely enough, at the times they're running those drills happen to be the exact time that those things that they are running the drill about actually happen. Like 9/11. The FEMA agents showed up on September 10th to deal with the 9/11 issue. They were prepared. FEMA was also involved with number of other incidents that have taken place around the world, how they were suddenly prepared when it didn't quite seem that they could have gotten there so quick, and you wonder how they had a response. Well, now they're getting ready to do another exercise, and this one is all about, and is going to take place in the Midwest along the New Madrid fault line. Let's listen to this and see what you think. Said after the earthquake in Japan, more people began. Whoa, this isn't it. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Hold on. All right. There we go. Okay. On September 27, 2010, FEMA's private sector division hosted an operation briefing for 35 of the nation's leading business associations with senior FEMA officials in Washington, D.C.
At the national level exercise, and for folks in the room, I'm sure you're aware that we have a congressionally mandated Tier 1 exercise program in this country that tests our preparedness and resiliency against a set of planning scenarios, 15 planning scenarios. And it's a heavily engaged effort, and until very recently, the private sector, as we understand it, has had a challenge in having a seat at the table in the design, planning, and execution of the national level exercises. In recent time, that has changed, and changed dramatically. This FEMA administrator is committed to the relationship, the secretary is committed to the relationship, and folks have stepped up to where we now have a collaborative approach to how we're going to work to test our nation's preparedness and resiliency in a way different than we ever have. So we are now working aggressively to plan for the National Level Exercise 2011 that will test against a catastrophic earthquake event in the New Madrid seismic zone of the United States, involving 4 FEMA regions, 8 states, and obviously a broader stakeholder constituency that we probably don't even fully understand at this point. But we are inviting people to get involved. There are levels of participation that are available from full player all the way down to observer. And for many businesses and organizations that may just want to test their own emergency preparedness and business continuity capabilities, we can facilitate that as part of the process as well. I have been one over time, and some people in this room that have worked with me know that I have experienced some frustration around what I believe was not the level of collaboration that was possible. Today I sit here very excited and enthusiastic about a different attitude, a different approach, and a true communication, coordination, and collaboration in how we work together to test realistic scenarios, to identify the gaps, to build improvement plans, and to make this nation safer and more secure through the National Exercise Program.
Okay. For information on private sector National Exercise 2011, email private.sectornle@dhs.gov. So, what is important about that? It's just that just pay attention, because every time there is a drill of these natures, it happens more often than not that the actual emergency that they are preparing for actually happens. Is there some sort of a problem with this fault line in New Madrid? Is it going to go off? Are they going to trigger something? These questions and more will only be known in the future when they actually do happen. So let's hope for the best, but just be aware of what's going on out there. All right, and last, we have time for one more thing. We're going to listen to Ron Paul give his address.
Congress focused on issues surrounding government spending this week as talks of deficits, the national debt, and the debt limit saturated the airways. This is a positive development. In years past, there was very little concern over how much was spent here in Washington, how it was spent, or how much of our gross domestic product was being consumed by government. That blissful ignorance naturally resulted in decades of government spending with impunity, bringing us to where we are today. Trillions in debt with astronomical entitlement obligations that will be impossible to fulfill in the not-too-distant future. So it is a good thing that there is so much political pressure now on our leaders to actually put the brakes on runaway spending. However, even the most generous estimate of the spending cut passed this week, $38.5 billion, is a paltry 3.5% of the $1.05 trillion in spending through the next 5 months. This hardly makes a dent in our government's mountain of debt. Even worse than that, the nonpartisan CBO stripped away the accounting sleight of hand and scored it as only $352 million in cuts, which works out to less than 1/2 of 1% of spending. Still, the tiniest cut is better than the massive increases we have become accustomed to in federal budgets. Of course, our disastrous wars in Afghanistan and Iraq are not even included in this budget, as they are considered emergency spending. They constitute $3.3 billion in spending in the same period of time, so they more than cancel out any small cuts the warmongers may crow about. I voted against the legislation funding government for the remainder of this year as well as next year's budget because, as in years past, government spends far too much on unconstitutional programs. In spite of any rhetoric about fiscal responsibility, a 0.3% cut does not suddenly make the rest of the spending constitutional or responsible. And if the American people do not continue to hold the politicians' feet to the fire, you can be sure we will see massive spending increases again in the future. In addition to Congress's spending, many Americans are finally paying attention to the spending done by unelected banking cronies at the Federal Reserve. Recently, the Fed was forced to reveal some details of loans given out during the financial crisis of 2008, and they are truly shocking. Matt Taibbi points out in Rolling Stone's article recently that two very well-connected Wall Street wives got together and formed a real estate investment company that garnered $220 million in so-called loans, which is actually free money from the Fed. Compare this number to the $352 million in spending cuts the CBO says are in the current budget. A few months later, one of the wives bought a $13.3 million personal residence with her husband, the CEO of Morgan Stanley. The unelected, unaccountable Fed hands out as much or more money this way as our federal government spends, and yet receives hardly any attention. This is why I believe transparency of the Fed is a critical step to regaining control of our financial situation in this country. We can never get meaningful reforms if all eyes are on the $352 million so-called cuts, and transactions like the $220 million given to Wall Street cronies are done in the shadows. This is why I have reintroduced my Audit the Fed bill to this Congress. H.R. 1207 is now H.R. 459 and is essential to true fiscal reform and responsibility. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414, every Monday. The written text can be found on my website, www.house.gov/call, under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you there, Mr. Paul. 459, HR 459, that's the bill to audit the Fed. All right. That about brings us to where are we at here in time-wise. Oh, we're in the last 2 minutes. All right, we have time for you just to close your eyes, my friends. Just close your eyes. Take a moment and focus on what it is you want to do today. Take a moment and think about your day. Where are you headed? What kind of things you're going to work on? And just see yourself moving smoothly and easily through your day. No matter what goes on, see yourself getting past the obstacles. No matter what goes on, see yourself having smooth communication with those you have to talk with. And now just imagine yourself seeing it at home later tonight, feeling good about your day, feeling that you made great progress, feeling that you learned new things, and that it was a good, happy day for you. And just take a moment and send light and love around the world to everyone else listening to the show. And just everyone else around the world, that they also have good, happy, peaceful days. And send this love down into the earth to help heal the earth. And now bring your energy back to your heart space. Take a deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. And that is all we really need to do to focus ourselves in for the day. To focus ourselves towards where it is we need to go. I hope you enjoyed today's show. A lot of information. There's always much to talk about every day, isn't there? No matter where we're going, the world is not stopping. The world continues on, and we need to keep learning. So just, as you listen to the news out there, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Just watch and see for yourself if the mainstream media is trying to pick a fight. If they're trying to push different buttons of racism on people that people aren't pushing themselves. It's not the people who are doing it, it's the media. And remember, behind the media, you got the CIA. So the media is like a big CIA mind ops, controlling the mind. Oh, by the way, Obama, he's going to be in California. He's going to be at the Facebook headquarters. That's quite interesting, don't you think? If there was any concern or doubt that there was a connection between the government and Facebook, that can all be removed now because Obama's going to be at the Facebook headquarters. That's the full connection right there. So, there you have it. For Dirk Bradshaw, my name's Josh Poet. I'll be back tomorrow. You have a great day. Peace out. See ya.